Coming up tonight on the news at 6, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz is tracking the next blast of snow and bitter cold temperatures, what you need to know to stay safe this weekend. Plus,
if it wasn't for them, I'd probably be dead.
Taking care outside the hospital and clinics and into the community.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening. Welcome to the News at 6. I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us. All right, well, lots of active weather out there right now. Let's get right into it with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
And you know, all this is happening on National Weather Person's Day.
I was going to say that today. You stole my thunder.
There we go. Happy Weather Person's Day to you all. I'm sure you don't want to really congratulate the weather people, but good evening, everybody. Take a look at Loma right now. The Arctic boundary is spilling through the state, and we've got snow and we've got wind. That is going to be a real tough drive along the Rocky Mountain front. Look at Pendroy out there right now. Browning, the visibility not good, but it's actually improved here over the last couple of hours. And around McDonald Pass, of course, the sun came out at times this afternoon close to Helena, and the wind, though, is really howling out ahead of that Arctic boundary. We're going to see a wind shift coming up here with the boundary that just moved through Great Falls about an hour ago. But winter weather advisory for lighter snows, but still we've got dangerous wind chills and driving conditions on the High Line. Wind chill advisory for northeast Montana. A lot of the state likely looking at wind chill advisory conditions through the weekend, though, into next weekend. A winter storm warning for a lot of central southern Montana up the Rocky Mountain front through the glacier area. We've got snow days, plural. We're looking at 3, maybe more days of snow in a row here. Wind chilled to the bone. Keep in mind, wind chill factors are already down near 30 below and could get colder in parts of the state this weekend. And we may have a prolonged period of sub-zero temperatures. I'll let you know how long it will last coming up.
Thanks, Curtis. Well, new tonight at 6, Lewis and Clark Public Health is lowering the quarantine time for COVID-19. People exposed to the virus will now have to quarantine for 10 days. That's down from the previous 14-day quarantine. People have to be symptom-free on the 10th day and still have to actively monitor for symptoms daily up until the 14th day from exposure. Now, the change follows the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidance issued back in December. The health department says that they decided to shorten the quarantine period because of declining COVID-19 cases, which gives contact tracers more time to work with people who have been exposed. Next week, Helena School District trustees will consider returning students to fully in-person classes. Now, there is a possible action item on the agenda, which is about school phasing, and that's going to be on their agenda for their meeting on Tuesday. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports the details.
Since the start of the school year, Helena Public Schools have been in a hybrid model, with students in in-person classes 2 days a week and online classes the other 3. Leaders will have to decide if that's still the best way to balance safety concerns with students' needs. The school district surveyed parents and families, as well as staff members, for their opinion on whether the district should think about phasing up to having all students on campus at the same time. A majority of parents who responded said they wanted to look at fully in-person classes, while most employees said they thought the district should stay in the current phase for now. Parents have pointed to the impact not being in the classroom full-time has had on their students, with many saying their children have had struggles academically and emotionally. They also noted that most other large districts in Montana have already been back to in-person classes or are moving in that direction. The Helena Education Association, the union that represents Helena teachers, hasn't taken an official position on phasing. But President Jane Sean says many of their members are concerned that if all students are in person, they won't be able to maintain the same type of physical distancing they've been using.
With more kids in our classrooms, then there's a higher likelihood, of course, of more quarantines. With that, then you've got kids moving in and out and teachers moving in and out, and less consistency than what there is now for kids.
The school district has reported more than 500 positive COVID-19 cases associated with students and employees. But leaders say in most cases they've been able to avoid any close contacts at schools, so they haven't usually had to quarantine others in the same class. Sean said teachers also understand the importance of being face-to-face and want to have students back as soon as it's safe. She said they hope, if the district decides to start phasing up, that they'll look at what else can be done to make the transition as safe as possible.
Teachers rise to an occasion. Whatever occasion it is, they rise to that occasion. And if this is what the board decides to do, teachers will make it work.
Missoula schools are currently in the process of phasing up to have more students on campus. In this area, East Helena schools have already been in person, but with modified scheduling. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
The school board is set to discuss phasing at Tuesday's meeting, but a decision is not guaranteed. Now taking a look at the state's COVID-19 situation, active cases of COVID-19 are holding steady while active hospitalizations continue to fall again. Right now, there are about 3,400 active cases, and to put that number in perspective for you, that is less than 1/5 of the peak active case numbers from November. 102 people are currently hospitalized with the virus in the state, and 4 additional deaths have been reported today, which brings the statewide death total to 1,326. MTN uses a combination of state and local data to report COVID-19 cases and deaths in the state. Helena High School was evacuated after a bomb threat this afternoon. Superintendent Tyler Ream said the threat was called into the school. Helena police officers, detectives, and school resource officers responded. The Montana Highway Patrol and Helena Police Department's bomb detection canines searched the school and surrounding property, but nothing was found. Detectives are actively working the case.
Thank you to our community for such a resilient culture. Our students, staff, and leadership at the school took care of kids and each other in a very safe manner. The way our law enforcement collaborates and responds is really it's a heartwarming experience for me to see as a leader and educator and member of this community.
A trio of paramedics and emergency medical technicians are working with St. Peter's Health in Helena to treat people outside the traditional hospital or clinic setting. MTN's Alexia Guayo tells us about this new community paramedicine program.
If it wasn't for them, I'd probably be dead. I only see my knuckles.
Sandy Heyer received health care for wounds on her elbow and hands in the passenger seat of this vehicle.
We need to get those fingers.
It is not an ambulance, nor is this an emergency. Sandy's treatment experience is part of a new evolving healthcare model according to the Rural Health Information Hub, and now St. Peter's is a part of it.
We're the eyes and the ears for the primary care physician. It's helping people who are underserved and undercovered in the healthcare system.
It's referred to as community paramedicine. It's having EMTs or paramedics go to the patient, but not because of an emergency, but rather a wide variety of services such as vaccinations or routine follow-ups, all while the patient remains in their own living space. This trio is the first in St. Peter's new community paramedicine program. It has been on the horizon in Montana for about the last 6 years, but the pandemic added more focus to the idea.
When the pandemic hit Montana, or even the nation as it is, DPHHS started opening up grants for pilot programs in the state to see if we could maybe assist with reducing the risk to some of our high-risk patients.
Since the program started in April of last year, the trio conducted over 700 visits around and beyond the county. They also treated more than 300 individuals from their home and even the homeless, all referred to the program. Sandy is homeless, and she is grateful to have these ladies arrive and attend to her wounds.
It's been wonderful. It's been a godsend. They have done so much for me. They drove in all the way out here to find me and help me get they get my medications for me.
In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTN News.
Still ahead on the news at 6, Girl Scout cookie season is here. How COVID-19 is making the process a little different this year.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6. I have some good news for you tonight. One popular tradition COVID-19 has not canceled or postponed or ruined: delicious Girl Scout cookies. MTN's Annie Johnson tells us what is going on in the Girl Scout world.
Girl Scout cookies have become a staple for so many, and the season is scheduled to start Friday, February 5th. But it brings the question, will there even be a season in 2021?
The 2021 Girl Scout season has not been canceled, and it starts today, and we are so excited to get out there and meet our customers and start selling cookies in a very safe way.
With so many changes that come with a pandemic, one may have thought that included a year without the famous cookies, but not if this Girl Scout can help it.
I knew that we would probably still do it because even though it's COVID around, we can still do this while staying safe.
This mother-daughter troop duo put their trust in the organization, hoping they'd find ways to adapt, but still allow them to do what they love and look forward to.
The Girl Scout organization, their top concern is the safety of the girls, and they've done a really good job of finding ways to sell cookies and collect money to keep the girls safe.
You can choose to have cookies shipped to you or delivered by the Scouts.
With that money, we can help other people.
Which is one reason why Rose was determined to sell despite the circumstances. And in the end, it's taught her a lot.
Stay creative, and if somebody tells you you can't do that, don't listen to that. You can still do that, and I've probably learned that with cookies and COVID.
But despite the adjustments, you'll get your cookies.
Last year they got their cookies quite a bit later, but they still got their cookies because we were trying to figure out a safe way of delivering them. And I said, like I said, the girls are being really creative on how to safely accommodate their cookie customers.
Reporting in Bozeman, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
All right, Curtis, this is when I was going to tell you it is National Weather Person Day.
It is! Where's my gifts?
They're coming. They're
okay,
coming. Don't worry.
In the form of snow here. All right, taking a look at the global satellite. This is pretty impressive here. The jet stream, which all winter long has been coming at us more from the south and the west, it's coming at us directly from the northwest, delivering Arctic air and snow. More on the forecast coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We've got a blitz of snow coming across the state right now with the Arctic boundary. 13 in Great Falls. We've dropped about 8 degrees in the last hour or so. North wind up to 30 miles per hour, wind chill down to 6 below. Helena, still balmy, but boy, is that wind howling throughout the area. We've got some gusts up over 40 miles per hour. So we've got a couple of fronts here on the map. There's a stationary boundary separating the mild air, look at those numbers, into the 30s, from temperatures into the teens. And then the Arctic boundary is working its way southward, and it's going to take over that stationary front more or less. But behind that, that's where we're dropping. Cut Bank at 0, 5 in Havre and Glasgow. North Dakota already down below 0. And look at the wind. It's 0 in Cut Bank with a wind of 30 miles per hour. And wind chills in the area along the Rocky Mountain front well below 0. Some really nasty stuff north and east of the Glasgow area as well. Just once again, we've got the wind chill advisory northeast Montana, although at times this weekend wind chill advisories may be extended to include most of the state. There's a winter weather advisory for the High Line, really Interstate 15 east, for lighter snow amounts, and a winter storm warning for a lot of the heart of Montana here, as the combination of snow and wind and accumulation is just going to make for some really difficult weather to be out in, driving in as well. But there you can see the radar, and right here, this little stripe of snow moving through the Great Falls area, that's the Arctic front that is pushing through. I mean, it's snowing very hard in Geraldine. Guys are about ready to get some of that snow. Look at the snow on the Rocky Mountain front. A lot of big-time flakes around Augusta, some snow into Wolf Creek Canyon. Helena, got another couple hours before that Arctic boundary comes through. Some snow out through central Montana. Watch out, Lewistown, Stanford, over through about Hobson, Winifred about ready to get hit. And we've got some snow up around Fort Belknap and Malta heading over through the Saco area as well. Not as much snow, if much at all, into the far northeastern part of the state. And I'm showing the national radar here because a lot of the United States will be plunged into this deep Arctic air mass as well. It's not just Montana here, but for tonight, snow continuing, and in the next couple of hours, that Arctic boundary will push into the Helena area with some snow. Snow may be tapering off a little bit late this evening, but look at it picking back up again through Saturday. Saturday, a snowy day for most of central and western areas. Not so much snow up there around Glasgow. You'll just be cold. And then we'll have that snow kind of taper off again into Sunday morning before picking back up again for places like Helena, Lewistown, Great Falls, down through Bozeman, Livingston, Butte, and Dillon on Sunday. Snowfall amounts through tonight into tomorrow, about 1:30, let's just say a few inches here, but the accumulation will continue through Saturday night into Sunday. Here we are Sunday morning. The pink is 6 inches. The white is at least 3 inches of snow. The mountains west of Helena, again, could be more than a foot by the time we get into Sunday morning. And there you can see the snow forecast. And this takes into account the snow, 1 to 4 inches that we saw across a lot of the area already today. Totals from this 4-day snow event could be upwards of a foot in some areas, and some of the mountains have already picked up over a foot of snow. The forecast for tonight, dangerous on the roads, dangerous wind chills. These temperatures are very cold. Some of these numbers, the coldest we've seen so far this winter, already 20 below in northeast Montana. Helena, not quite so cold just yet. That really arrives for tomorrow night, but wave of low pressure creating areas of snow for tomorrow. Colder the farther northeast you get here in the state. Look at Missoula at 36. For Sunday, widespread snow once again, especially early on. Temperatures a little colder, highs mainly below zero. Into Monday, another round of snow, highs well below zero again here on Monday east of the divide. And into Tuesday, we actually have another reinforcing Arctic boundary coming through that could kick off a little snow Tuesday night into Wednesday. Helena, 7-day forecast. Yeah, these are some scary numbers, and it will be a prolonged cold. We're not dipping down into 10 or 20 below at night for 1 or 2 nights. It's most of next week here with those low temperatures that cold. And for Great Falls, we may drop below zero Saturday afternoon and stay there all the way until next Saturday.
All right, thanks, Curtis. Coming up, the Fighting Saints volleyball team is on the road again, traveling for the first time since 2019.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. The Carroll College volleyball team is on the road for the first time since November 2019. Tonight, they take on the Montana Western Bulldogs. MTN's Sam Hoyle shows us why they feel ready for the challenge.
The Carroll College volleyball team traded games with the University of Providence Argos last Friday and Saturday. And though it was a completely different atmosphere, many of the players were just happy to be back out on the court.
Well, I definitely think it was unique having to play with no fans, a bunch of different protocol that we're having to undergo. But at the end of the day, we're just grateful to be back on the court. It's been almost a year and a half since our last game, so you're not going to hear a lot of complaints for us when we get to be on the court.
Though the Saints were obviously hoping to start off their season at 2-0 and not 1-1, most believe they'll hit their peak very soon.
It's definitely so different, even just the change from a fall season to a spring season, not having any preseason matches. But it's also been good. I think it gives us an opportunity to just focus on what we have and focus on our strengths and build on that.
And Fighting Saints head coach Mo Boyle believes they'll get a better chance to really get into a game mentality this Friday night when they hit the road against the Montana Western Bulldogs.
There's almost an advantage of being the away team because you're preparing for the match long before the home team is, because there isn't that excitement built around a home game because nobody's going. You know, you don't have the excitement of the game tonight at home. I think we'll be in game mode sooner and we'll be talking game sooner.
The Fighting Saints and the Bulldogs tip things off tonight in Dillon at 7 o'clock. For MTN Sports, I'm Sam Hoyle.
All right, and we'll wrap things up here on the News at 6 when we come back.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back. A school custodian made a trick shot and no one would have even known if it had not been caught on camera. Joe Orions is a custodian at an Ohio middle school, and on Thursday morning he was shooting baskets before students and staff arrived at the school, and so he decided he was going to try and make a half-court shot with his back turned toward the basket, and, well, he made it. He mentioned it to the school's principal, Kyle Leatherman, who didn't believe him until he checked the cameras, and sure enough, it was true. All right, that does it for the news at 6. We'll see you back here tonight at 10 with your latest headlines and a look at the weather. See you then.